guys talking about the Aquatic Bar films?
Of course, I was very late to many Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland films. Oh, I did not care for those movies. No, I love Johnny and his passion for acting.
Yes. I particularly liked his interpretation of the character, Captain Jack Sparrow.
You guys talking about Captain Jack Sparrow?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love
Fuck's sake. Oh, Meat Canyon. You wonderful man, you. So on point.
Yeah. And then very off point. Yeah. Super off point. Like stink friend.
Yeah, if you wanna have existential dread and you don't understand exactly why, watch those videos.
Yeah, wonderful videos. Yeah.
Bazinga.
So the equestrians, the horses are actually from the Sahara region, and Friesians actually came over in the late 16th century. Bazinga.
Honeyberries do not actually like honey.
Bazinga.
Oh. Speaking of dread, shall we get into our last one for the session?
Yeah.
So, the Green Knight.
The Green Knight.
Fucking Green Knight.
Full disclaimer now. First of all, he's not green.
No.
No. I mean...
He's barely a knight.
No. And... Bit of a dick.
Bit of a dick.
Nah. He, yeah. Yeah, The Green Knight.
Yeah, so starring Dev Patel.
Yeah, and directed by David Lowery.
David Lowery, yes.
Yeah.
Ghost Story.
Ghost Story, which is a great film.
Which I have not seen.
He wrote and directed Ghost Story, which is very good, again, very gentle, very nice sort of film about loss and grief. And then A24, because A24 did Ghost Story, and they were like, David, we love you, baby. Like, what have you got next? And he was like, oh, how about an authorial legend? And they were like, oh, fucking okay.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll do about
good.
The Green Knight. Oh, like the lesser known story. Okay.
Yeah,
like
Sir Gawain.
You know, we'll tap into that. And then David Lowery proceeded to essentially spit and scream onto a script, and the Google Translate turned that into stage directions and camera movement, and that's how we got The Green Knight.
Yeah, and when it came to it, they were like, what's the actual dialogue there? Like, oh yeah,
well, too late, you've got the money now, so we have to make it. Okay, I mean, a summary of The Green Knight. I mean, Sean, you should do this because you're more into ethereal legends than I am.
Well, okay, so Sir Gawain is challenged at a feasting day of King Arthur. All these knights assemble at King Arthur's one of his birthdays, I think, if I recall. I honestly can't remember the film, but
no.
Yeah, a lot. So that's an estimation. But like,
believe there was a knight involved.
I believe there were knights involved.
Not really.
There might have been a horse.
Yeah, there might have been some green in there.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I'll go into the original legend at the end. But
there's a big feast. It's Christmas Day, and Arthur is like, everyone, tell a story of how great you are. And you've got all the big boys there. You've got Lancelot, and he's like, mate, I fucking killed like 50,000 men, and like, I did it all
while sleeping with your wife,
and it
you
was
don't even
beautiful.
know.
And everyone's like beguiling stories of heroism, and it comes to, what's his name? Gawain. It comes to Gawain, and Gawain.
Or what do they call him in the film?
Gawain.
Which, to be fair, I'm not going to quibble. I think that's like the more accurate Welsh pronunciation. Which, again, to be fair, with Arthurian legend, it's probably close to what it was, to be fair.
And
we know it's Gawain. Right?
Yeah,
it's Gawain.
So Gawain is a bit of a he's a bit of a fucking chancer. Like, he wakes up that morning, naked in a brothel, hungover as fuck, and he's like, by the way, you've got to have a meeting with Arthur. He's like, oh shit, okay. So already he's established as a bit of a chancer.
Young cocky man syndrome.
Yeah, and the beginning tales of heroism, and Arthur basically is like, come sit with me, like, we're basically family, like, we're almost like
Yeah.
But, you know, we're almost blood related, you know.
I built this round table for a reason.
Yeah,
you know.
but like, you know...
This is difficult, all right? We don't have IKEA, mate.
No,
like,
we don't have squares yet.
Yeah, perfect round tables are very hard to make.
Yeah.
So...
Like, appreciate the admin that went into this.
Exactly.
Please
and it's
appreciate
not even a round table, it's like a semicircle crescent kind of design. Which is nitpicking, I know.
And Gawain walks in, he's like, oh, that's not a circle. That's not a fucking circle.
Teach by Pythagoras, for God's sake.
So he walks in, he sits to Arthur, and Arthur's like, please tell us a story. And Gawain basically realises that he has no story.
I have no tales to tell.
He has nothing to tell. So then, out of nowhere, the biggest badass in the world turns up. Ralph Ineson turns up.
Fucking Ralph.
And we won't call him the Green Knight, we'll call him Ralph.
We'll call him Ralph.
Ralph turns up.
Fucking Ralph. The
Ralph.
deepest voice, man.
And he turns up.
You've ever heard. Who we worked with?
Sorry.
We worked with Ralph.
We worked with Ralph, we did.
did.
And he sounded like that the entire fucking time.
Lovely
He's
man.
got, oh, incredible man.
I gave him my throw once.
You did.
To lie down
He was
sleep
cold and he had a very bad back problem. And Sean was like, "Can I have a throw?" He was like, "Oh yes, son. Bring me that cloth."
I gave. Bring me that cloth. Literally word for word. I gave the fucking Green Knight a throw.
I used to make his teas in the morning. Guess how he likes his tea?
Extra milky.
Well, not extra milky. He likes, and I'm not even joking, 2 tea bags.
2 tea.
He likes.
It's not northern enough.
He wants 2 Yorkshire brews and a big splash of milk, no sugar. And I'm like, fair enough. You got to get up in the morning. You need some good strong brew.
It had to be vaguely milky. I knew. There was
it had to be quite milky.
involved.
Yeah, it was like strong but milky.
Yeah.
And he's an absolute.
As long as it's like tan colour, we can talk.
Exactly. He'll get out the Durex. Durex.
Sorry. Durex. Let me just get out of this condom.
Oh, it's not the colour of tea I like. I'm sorry. Is that extra rib for my pleasure? No, I like it dotted. You fool.
You fool. We're not even mocking. Like, we fucking love him.
He's incredible.
He's a wonderful person. He's an amazing actor,
and he was incredible to work with. He was genuinely
Jesus Christ,
very, very wonderful to work with.
Yeah, a fucking saint. Love that man.
Yeah, and so anyway,
but
Ralph turns up, and Ralph is the Green Knight, and he walks in and he places a wager to the round table, and he says, which one of you can strike me down? And if I remember correctly, Sean, he says very specifically from the beginning, he's like, whatever blow thou gives me, I shall deal the same one to you.
Turn. Yeah.
And so
you're right. It's very specific.
And you know, the knights aren't fucking idiots. A lot of them are like, okay, I'm not going to do that.
This guy who's made out of tree
trunks,
obviously,
but Gawain is like, I'll do it.
Nothing else going on.
Oh, I can be here. And he's like, dude, we very specifically said.
Yeah, you could have just nicked him in the shoulder.
Yeah. So he goes up and like an absolute dickhead, he grabs a massive fucking sword and he beheads the Green Knight. And everyone's like, wee, love you, mate. And then the Green Knight gets back up and he's like, grabs his head, puts it back, puts it back on, and is like, you fool.
And you shall join me in the Green Chapel 1 year hence. Rides out love. So you've already got a great premise.
Yeah, and I think Gawain is in very heavy denial for the first half a year.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer. I think until October.
It's fucking 9-10
months. And he's just like,
before his mum, who's also potentially summoned the Green Knight, as shown in the film. His mum has potentially summoned it.
Yeah.
Which again gets very confusing what they're trying to say. But she's like, you need to actually meet him at the Green Chapel and
fulfill your oath.
Do the thing. And Gawain's like, really? And it's like,
he's the Green Knight, man.
So Gawain's like, oh, okay.
And everyone kind of bigs him up, and they're like, especially the Knights of the Round Table and Arthur, this will be a grand story.
Constantly.
And it's actually quite tragic, because he's like, I don't want to fucking go, but everyone's like,
kind of pushed into it,
you will be such a hero, legend for doing this. And he's like, am I fucking doing this?
Yeah.
Am I really? Am I getting the horse? Oh, I'm on the horse now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm riding out. Oh, okay, but I'm I'm going to take the hit.
He's very much swept up by the mythos rather than like being an agent in his own actions and story.
He kind of believes it for like the very beginning. He's like, no, you're right. No, this is my duty. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to find the Green Knight. I'm going to be a hero. I'm finally going to have a story worthy of the Round Table. And then what proceeds from there is a dreary, long, psychedelic road trip where nothing really happens.
Yeah, I think psychedelic is a generous term.
Yeah.
That's implying that it's kind of trippy and interesting.
Yeah.
That happens for like 20 seconds.
Yeah. He goes on the journey, and essentially the idea is that on the way, he encounters life encounters that give him perspective of what it is to be a hero. Like he meets bandits.
Legend, like he has these encounters.
Yeah, he meets a bunch of bandits that he wants to be very noble and help them, and they rob him, and he's like, oh shit, people are crap, and you should just look after yourself. And then he meets this lady of the lake who's been decapitated, and he actually does a good deed.
Saint Miriam or something.
Yeah, and
he's like, if I do this, what would you? Because he has to retrieve a head from the bottom
of the lake. Yeah.
So if I do this, what will you give me? He's like, why would you ask me that? Why would you ever ask me that? I was like, I recognise you, Flag Smasher, from the fucking Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series. And she's not great.
No.
But yeah, that happens.
Yeah, and then he meets a bunch of giants, and that's an incredible. That's just a very like random.
Happens, and he asks the giants to like give him passage over the land or something at one random point. But it's only like a 5-minute scene. It's like, where the fuck would you ever ask this random weird?
He meets a fox, and the fox helps him, and then finally he ends up at a castle with 2 insane people.
Which, by the way, is basically the beginning of Act 3. So what we just described now is
like
most of the film is just this meandering.
Yeah, these are very key points.
Without much substance.
Yeah. These are very key points that happens. He meets these insane people. They teach him a little bit about what it is to be human and how ruthless humans are.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the Green Chapel.
Yeah, so the lady in the house, she gives him a girdle. Which is this kind of a cloth. I can't remember what it is exactly, but some kind of... It's a kind of...
shawl or something.
Yeah, some kind of like... It's a favour. When they say a favour, it's what knights would wear, like tokens they would take from ladies. But he gets essentially this favour or token from her whilst he's being taken in by this mansion, this hunter. And basically they're promising like safety and sanctuary in almost the dullness of a continued existence. And this woman, like the hunter, is built up as this kind of almost force of nature, not force of nature, but natural thing. He just goes out and lives, and he hunts and brings stuff back. Like, again, this vagueness that I'm describing is like there's no. And she like takes a kind of portrait of him, like to almost encapture him in that moment. And I don't know quite. And then going, but she basically comes and tries to seduce him.
And then he makes him come and jerks him off into the cloth.
And says he's no knight.
Jerks him off into the cloth, into the shawl, and that's like the one thing that I really remember vividly. Like she jerks him off into a cloth.
Yeah, which is kind of like. Again, the concept itself, I don't mind per se.
No, again, we're kind of like miranding over it a lot.
But that, just like the film, really.
Yeah.
You know, and the house, this mansion with the hunter and this woman, sorceress, duchess, kind of seducer, essentially. They're basically promising him safety, but stagnation. And he's like, no, I have to go get the fuck out of here. I have to go fulfill my duty. And then he wanders, like you say, to the Green Chapel, and he has this moment with the fox, who I think is the woman, maybe. But the fox tells him, like, turn back, just go back, it's fine. Like,
you don't have to do this.
You could even lie and tell the others, like, you did this, like, they're not gonna know. And he's like, oh, fuck that fox. And the fox runs away. And then he wanders up to the Green Chapel.
Almost at this point, like sleepwalking. Like he's ended up got there, and he's you know he doesn't. Yeah, he's literally falling apart because it's terrifying. Like you're walking
to your
death. Yeah. And for what? Like to be remembered.
Yeah.
To have a legend about you.
And that's the thing. I think they're trying to go into the idea of legacy, which is my biggest issue with the film, is like you've taken the actual legend itself and you've changed what it's about. If you're going to do that, don't do that story. Like, you can change the details, the way it happens, you can even be self-reflective upon it, but the original story, well, we'll get to the ending first, but so he goes to the Green Knight on just before Christmas. It's like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And the Green Knight is like all wrapped in boughs and unmoving. You know, Ralph Ineson doing a great job being a tree.
Beautiful treeing.
Right.
He trees well.
Like he trees well.
Yeah, he's phenomenal treeing.
Like, I studied
I've
for
seen
10 years with the Ents of Merc.
I was considering beech, but
Yeah.
I went for willow, and I don't regret it.
I don't regret it.
It was an absolute powerhouse.
The director had serious objection. He wanted to be maple on Ashwood originally, but I knew Ashwood was too obvious. Ashwood is a basic bitch move. But yeah, and then the Green Knight finally rouses on Christmas morn with his big ass axe, which Gawain, we forgot to mention, like he leaves, the Green Knight at the beginning leaves this axe, this fucking awesome axe to be fair, at the table. It's like, this is the weapon that will be used, and
like, bring it back
has
to me.
Take this giant ass axe to him.
Yeah.
Gives him the axe, and the Green Knight gets ready to like chop off his head. There's a couple of times where he's like, "Art thou ready?" And he's like, "Is this it? Is there all there is?
Is this to it?"
And the Green Knight has this line where he's like, "What else would there be?" I was like, "Okay." Sounds evocative, but when you think about it overall, it's like, what have we been doing for the last 2.5 hours?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into like the feelings at the end of it.
So Gawain freaks out and runs away from the chapel and returns home, back to Camelot, essentially, and like claims that he did do what he did, and then we get this kind of
very strange
projected kind of like life montage where it's like he secedes from Arthur,
becomes king.
He rejects the girl who's set up at the beginning, who's this girl, this prostitute in the brothel that he gets pregnant, but he doesn't actually go anywhere with her. So he marries this other princess, he becomes king, lives his whole life, and then these people come to invade the kingdom and it's all falling down. He's there in the throne room alone, the wife and son escape, he's sitting there, and he pulls at the girdle that was given to him in the mansion originally. And as soon as he loosens it, his head falls off. He drops down a headless corpse. And then we cut right back to him in the Green Chapel itself, waiting for his execution.
Yeah.
And so he's basically had a vision of his whole life being a falsehood if he doesn't fulfill his end of the bargain and fulfill the legacy intended for him, or his fate, or what he promised to do, whatever it is. And he says to the Green Knight, is like, well, I'm ready then. And Ralph, or the Green Knight, you know, it's just Ralph.
Just Ralph.
But Ralph, it's this great line for him, to be fair. It's like, well, and he says it in such like gentle humour. He's like, now then, off with your head. And the film just ends.
Yeah.
So that's the Green Knight. It's like, I don't quite, I mean, I feel it's like, it's supposed to be a reflection on like legacy and what it means, and how you can get pushed into a thing, but also how you're unwilling to accept it, but also how you don't want to die, but you have to accept that, but also you were forced to accept that legacy. So is it really your fault you're there in the first place if you were kind of essentially tricked into falling into this place because you're naive and inexperienced and desperately want some kind of future? Is it a commentary on egotism, or like the vanity of man to aspire beyond his means, and then when he actually meets a challenge that, or something he cannot overcome, he cowers from it, and so the only thing to do is accept that? Because
there's breadcrumbs of meaning throughout there, and like obviously like you can kind of tell what the director's going for. He's
kind of being
kind
the
of
word,
it's like, you know, there's this big, like you said, a big emphasis on your legacy. So there's lots of moments where he meets these like trials where, you know, the bandits and the Lady of the Lake, and that's his moment. It's almost like a reflection of Arthur's meeting with the Lady of the Lake, but it's a bit more crapper and it doesn't really turn out the way he wants it to. So it's like, what does it mean to be an Arthurian legend? What does it mean to do great deeds? And up to that point, he's basically failing at each one. Even like at that point, you know, even when he's like jacked off with a girl, it's a very shallow and cold moment, and a very like, and I can understand like where he's coming from. It's like, you know, sometimes, you know, is, you know, a life of what would you rather have, a life of mediocrity, or to be hailed as a legend forever? And I kind of get that, but what I wouldn't get is that if what I don't understand is that throughout the entire film, Patel's character feels so pressured and naive. And for such a long time, I thought the film was going to flip things on the head and be like, actually, you know what? You don't have to fucking buy into this.
Yeah.
You can actually
Yeah.
do your own, and like living a life with this woman you
Yeah.
love. She's a whore, all that stuff. Having that life is actually better. And I think he went for the whole verbatim switch of like, no, his pride got the better of him.
But the pride was never there in the first place.
He was completely bullied into it from the start, and he was completely shown. And
that's
maybe,
the thing. So it's like, oh well, if you want to be a great man, then you have to then you have to take the consequences. It's like, but he never understood fully what he was buying into. So I feel it's innately unfair and very un-Arthurian, to be honest.
Yeah,
if you're going to adapt King Arthur,
and look, maybe that's the point. Maybe it's about maybe it's about peer pressure and about how, men are particularly vulnerable to having their pride manipulated.
which I can see, but then Gawain as a character is not the right character to explore that with.
Yeah, it should be someone like Lancelot who's all about pride, and maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I would say Lancelot is not like... Basically, Lancelot's perfect.
Yeah.
Lancelot's greatest flaw is that he fell in love with Guinevere. That's the beautiful tragedy of it. But Lancelot is not so proud. Like, there's actually this point where Gawain and Lancelot, when Lancelot goes out to rescue Guinevere in one of the legends, who's been kidnapped by the sorcerer, there's one point where he has to travel by cart. So he rides his horse to death. Right. He literally rides it till its heart explodes to get to her. And then Gawain comes to catch up and he's like, fucking hell, I'll help you, brother. And Lancelot was like, I need thy horse, like I hast need of it. And Gawain's like, oh, fucking... And he convinces Gawain, and Gawain's like, oh, fucking alright. So then he takes Gawain's horse and rides it to death as well, just to catch up with this guy. Still doesn't catch them. Then comes to a point Gawain, like, catches up afterwards, where Lancelot has this thing where it's like, there's this peasant who's like, oh, watcha, Sir Noble Knight, I will take you on me cart down the road. Which, again, like, very unnoble for a knight. Like, a knight does not travel by cart. Very, like, big a humiliation. And Lancelot takes it. He's like, fine, I'll do it. Gawain doesn't at the time. Like, they're both there. And Gawain, it's funny that it's Gawain. It might be Galahad. I might be getting the G's wrong. I might be getting mixed up. I believe it's Gawain. But Gawain's like, I'm not fucking travelling by a cart. Like, it's dishonourable. It's literally shame. Again, chivalry is like, this isn't just pride. Like, this is a whole... Like, this is a very iron raw... This is not just pride. Like, this is a whole code of ethics and a way of living knights have to do. It's like, if you break that code, you break the whole structure, essentially. But Lancelot's like the exception. He's like, I will do right that is right no matter what. So anyway, I'm getting off tangent, but like, so Lancelot rides this cart that Gawain won't. So Gawain's like, I will catch up with you when I find another horse, brother. So Lancelot's like, perfect. Lancelot's greatest crime, which is the reason he cannot find the Grail at the end, is that he fell in love with Guinevere and had an affair. That's literally Lancelot's only crime. He's perfect beyond that. He's truly the knight of all knights. But with Gawain, in this, like, so my biggest issue is they've taken the legend and they've misadapted it. Like, the original Arthurian legend, the idea of the Green Knight is that it all kind of goes down like that. Gawain goes to the Green Chapel and he gets this girdle given to him by this lady of the house. And the girdle promises protection from any mighty strike or any kind of malicious intent.
Right.
And what Gawain does is he goes to take his blow, but he wraps the girdle around his neck and hides it under his jerkin, essentially. So he dishonestly takes on the Green Knight's blow. He lies because he's afraid. But he falters as a knight. Like, a knight shouldn't be afraid. Again, chivalry, it's like, it is or it isn't. It's black and white. There is no negotiation. So Gawain fails as a knight. That's the point. He fails, and the Green Knight does the blow. It bounces off his axe notches, and he realises that Gawain has the girdle around his neck, and he realises what's going on. And the Green Knight picks him up and he laughs. It's like, I cannot fault thee for feeling such fear as it would be of men. It's something like that. And they have this moment together. The Green Knight's like, I do not even fault thee. It's almost like the Green Knight was there to prove that men are
scared.
And
arrogant and thwarted by their pride.
This whole code, they try and live
faulted,
by,
is ridiculous.
Is just susceptible to the fact that men carry it out, humans, But the knight laughs and forgives him, sends him on his way, and Gawain goes back to the round table, and he's ashamed, but he tells them straight away. He admits, he tells them the truth. He's like, I have failed. I'm no knight. I'm a failure. I'm pathetic. I was afraid. And all the knights laugh it off, and they're just kind of like, mate, we get you.
We get you, mate. Yeah, you were going to get your head fucking cut off. Don't worry about it.
But it's that kind of weird balance where it's like the chivalric code was essentially broken, but the brotherhood and the trust of men between themselves, we know you're a good man. Yeah, we understand.
You went all the way there and you tried.
You tried. You failed. Yeah. You tried. It's essentially built on his failure and their acceptance of that. That's the beauty of it. Ends with that.
Wow, what a better story.
I know, right? What a way better story. And forever, from that point, Gawain wears the girdle as a reminder of his shame and his weakness,
and his fear.
What a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, and his fear of mortality.
So that's Gawain and the Green Knight, and then this film.
I'm going to try and play devil's advocate and try and give the director and the writer some credit. I understand. I do understand the themes that he's trying to get across, which is okay, I'm going to try and adapt this, but what if Gawain basically shoots himself in the head out of pride?
But then that's not an adaptation, that's a bastardization of what the story is.
Do
your own thing.
But I understand that that's a take on it. It's I'm taking our Fear of Legends and I'm saying what if though they were just so perverted by pride that they were willing to literally commit suicide. And you're right, you could do a different tale with that, and you could say, I was inspired by the Green Knight.
Exactly. I feel if you're going to adapt something, you have to adapt its themes. You can change placement, you can change a lot of things, but if you're not going to adapt what the story is about,
the main theme is,
why the fuck are you adapting that story in and of itself? The same problem I have with the opening of The Witcher.
I think the issue for me is that, for the entire film, is that Patel's character is very fumbly.
He's just kind of a nobody.
And he's just a bit of a nonce.
He just kind of has no personality.
And the only way the filmmaker shows his moments of strife and what am I doing here is with really random scenes where he's in the wilderness, wet and cold.
Has some mushrooms, trips for 5 seconds.
And froze
That's
up.
A pointless scene.
This film is filled with utter. The thing is, me and Sean watched it, and after we came out, we were chatting. We were okay, it's an interesting take on the story, and okay, well, some of the visuals are very good, and they were some of the scenes are quite long. Yeah, some of them weren't really necessary. It's there was that scene where he just ate mushrooms and threw up.
And the more we talked, the more we realised a third of that film
is just pure style over substance. And it is an absolute masterclass of style over substance. There's a scene in it where the giants are taking him across the land and the camera is fixed, but the world rotates around it. And the only thing I'm very, very into using the camera to portray senses of dread, or if he's travelling the world, it's supposed. I understand he's trying to be it's he's travelling through time, and it's very disorientating.
Is he travelling through time?
Well, no, travelling through space. He's travelling, but it's all you're doing is you're rotating the camera, and you're making me feel sick.
Yeah.
And that shot goes on for fucking ages.
It's 11
seconds to do one rotation, and it's unbearable. It's unbearable.
That's a long time.
It's unbearably long. It is so fucking long, and we were there oh my god, stop spinning.
Yeah.
I get it. I fucking get it.
Yeah.
I get it. He's travelling. He's travelling through the fucking world. Oh, it's the story. It's I fucking get it.
Being turned
do you need an 11-second shot for that? You are so. Oh, I hate it when people get so indulgent.
Yeah.
They've got the money. They've got the money. They've got the fucking time, and they're just fucking showing off with the camera. They're just
a waste of money.
They're just flaunting their fucking. Look how much of a fucking poet I am on screen, and I'm a guy who loves Tarkovsky. I appreciate the Tarkovsky.
I enjoy Tarkovsky. But this film.
But this is indulgent to the point of unbearable.
That's the thing with Tarkovsky. You'll have a long scene in Stalker. All that stuff has a beginning. Then they get on the little fucking
cart,
minecart. They travel for a good long while. But the point is, it's a time to absorb not just the atmosphere, but what's happened.
Yeah.
Have you reflect on the things that have been said, why they're doing this, who they're with, and what they're about. There's actually stuff to reflect upon because of what you've witnessed in this moment. And it's just you and the world.
Yeah.
And that dialogue between you that generates by yourself because you're reflecting on things. Green Knight is like, you turned upside down for 11 seconds. What am I getting out of this?
Also, can I give you the main difference between Tarkovsky and David Lowery?
Please.
So, first of all, Tarkovsky, his editor is his wife, always been his wife, and she's very good. She's very much like, no, I get you. You know, you wanna linger.
Yeah.
But I'm also an editor, and we got to cut.
Yeah.
David Lowery edited The Green Knight.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes.
Just like Scorsese all over again.
Well, Scorsese usually gets his main editor in.
Yeah, well, is it his wife?
No, it's not his wife. I think it's just this woman he's worked with for a long time.
Where it's like,
but
someone else needs to tell you need to cut some stuff.
Yeah, because nothing shows truer than the person who's edited his own film. Like, someone needed to get in that editing room and was like, mate, like, it's been a load. Like, are you seriously still rotating?
Again, like, when he's traveling, it's like between meeting the thief and getting mugged to the end of the giant sequence, that's like 40 minutes, 40
and
minutes.
again, that beginning
of
bit,
essentially nothing. I mean, there's the Saint Miriam or whatever she's called, where he gets the head from the lake, but it's like,
but the bits in between,
like, the point is as well, the most offensive thing I find is like, this does not tie in thematically with anything.
No.
Like, if the point of it is pride and shame, you know, what is the thing about the acceptance at the end then? Like, you've undermined the whole thesis just by, at the last minute, doing a thing where he's like, no, he accepts his destiny. I'm like, then what are we building the fuck up to?
The only thing, I will say, I enjoyed the first 40 minutes of this film. I enjoyed the build-up.
It's very beautiful.
And I really enjoyed the build-up. It's very beautiful. I'm looking around like the set is banging. The costume is fucking incredible. Costume is absolutely outstanding.
Acting's pretty
The makeup is incredible. And then he goes into the bandit. When he goes into the bandit forest and he gets mugged, I was like, oh no, this is good. I like this. I like the going. I'm like, okay, yeah, he fucks up straight away.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get that. I wouldn't. But then, first of all, he's just a fucking idiot, and then he proceeds to be an idiot for the whole.
He
film.
doesn't grow or progress or change. He just goes to a place he's told to go and be like. Has a vision of about, if you carry on, it's going to end at this point, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to die now. And it's like, it doesn't feel like you've grown or learned anything.
And that's it. And
as a character, you've just had a vision, but that's not you growing, that's the audience being told that
and like I say, we have 4 main set pieces. We have the beginning, we have the bandit scene, we have the lake, we have the hunter and the weird wife, and then we have the Green Chapel. Everything in between is filler and not interesting and boring.
Yep.
And boring. I'll say so boring. I mean,
beautiful boringness.
I cannot like exaggerate enough how boring the scene is when he eats a fucking mushroom and throws up.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm like, this is at the lowest point now. Yeah. I'm like, this is so, and if that's the point of it, like, I want you to just feel the ache and the long duration of time that he's going through. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Like, you can do this way better.
Yeah.
You can do this way better. Again, like, Tarkovsky does that better.
You don't need this much time to do this little.
Yeah.
I swear Stalker is shorter. It might be the same length or longer. Yeah.
But, I mean, even to say, it's not really, like, kind of the same film, but, like, you have a film like Lord of the Rings where, by even the end of the first film, the scenario, the environment has changed so much.
The amount of shit they've
gone down. Yeah. You really feel like they've travelled a long way.
Yeah.
I'm like, has he really, like, everything looks the same. Everything, like, the wilderness all looks the same.
Yeah.
The whole, you filmed it in Ireland, and everything is Irish, and it's the same
Green,
Irish.
wet with some trees.
Yeah. And, okay, here's a few giants, and, like, yeah, that's the thing, like, the film is very beautiful. I will say, though, after that 40 minutes, it drops.
Yeah.
It just turns into a guy walking through a field, which I think is such a sin. It starts off with, he's got that golden green crown. Yeah. And he's got that beautiful costume, and it's so evocative. And then it proceeds to just be him walking through a field.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the point. maybe that's the point. But if you set it up for a very visual,
Which again,
psychedelic...
It's like, well, then you need to reflect more on the banality of what it means to build a legend. But then again, you'd have to actually build the legend at the end if you want to reflect on the banality of the progress towards it, which you don't either. You undermine the point of it or make it...
A journeyman story, like a journeyman story, like somebody goes on a sort of journeyman quest. Like you know,
kind of sojourn,
you know, like what's it, like Princess Bride or something like this? You know, somebody's going on a quest through a wilderness.
Just classic hero story.
It's defined by their encounters with people.
Yeah,
that's what makes journeyman stories incredible.
Wayne doesn't change or
learn, and everyone he meets is really dry.
Yeah,
even the also, couple who go out hunting.
Everyone's boring.
Like the lady's boring without the head.
When she talks about moss and green being the colourable things,
whatever.
What is this hot lady who was also in Blade Runner 2045?
It's just like, whatever.
No,
and like
bored, but again, for me...
honestly, by the time they got to the castle, I was nearly falling asleep, and I woke up because they were like talking again, and I was like, oh no, they're just talking really flimsy. They're just gonna be whimsical the whole time. They're gonna talk in poems and stuff. And again, I fucking love all that art shit.
No,
I love
like,
that.
I think we both hold the purview as like, you have to fucking earn this shit.
Yeah, and it has to mean something, and you have to earn it.
Yeah, poetry in a vacuum is nonsense.
Yeah,
poetry with context is beautiful.
And poetry out of, you know, when you've got like dialogue that's very brutal and then poetry comes out, it hits hard.
Yeah.
But when everyone is always talking in limericks and fucking...
There's a reason people shave down Shakespeare these days.
But
some people don't, but we don't watch those ones.
But that's it. And like,
for me, the biggest sin again is like you're not even adapting the theme correctly of the fucking legend itself. If you're going to do it, why would you obfuscate and bastardize the theme itself? Make your own thing. You know what I mean? I just think it's an insult to the forebearers that came before. And again, yes, I'm going to be biased because I'm quite passionate about the Arthurian legends themselves, but because they're cultural cornerstones. But again, it's like, oh, let's adapt Macbeth, but it's about how Macbeth was right.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you do Macbeth? Like, by all means, make your own. Don't take someone else's story, ride on that reputation and fame and legend status, and not even get the fucking theme right. Change things around. No problem. Gawain could have been a woman for another place who fell into that role. Do you know what I mean? If you did it well, like, I could see many things being changed. Maybe King Arthur wasn't even King Arthur. Maybe it was actually like no one was even called the right thing. It's like it's actually set in modern day.
Yeah.
And the guy is called Bob, who's Arthur, and Gawain is actually Gary. You know what I mean?
But it was an adaptation on the story.
You have to adapt the theme in and of itself. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to adapt anything in a story, like, it's got to be what the story ultimately is trying to say. You can switch and mix around many things, and you can make it introspective or recursive or even an analysis of that theme, and you can even bring up something different. But with this film, it fails entirely to talk about what it's really supposed to be about. And again, it's not like we're doing a different introversion. It's like, no, we're just doing Gawain and the Green Knight, but we're not going to do it right. It's set in the same time period, same characters. It was in the same journey, same details, but we're just not going to do what it's about. Yeah. And it's like, sorry, but no. Also, if you really wanted to adapt a story about, I don't know, legacy being overbearing, you could have gone fucking Percival. Yeah. You know, there's actually literally other characters in the Arthurian canon you could have used. Use Gawain and the Green Knight because you went for a name and a reputation. You're like, who else is famous? We can't do Lancelot. So like, who else do people know? Galahad? No, not really any big legends about him. Percival, well, he's kind of just the one that backs him up to get the Holy Grail, but we don't want to do that one. How about Gawain? Oh yeah, we know Gawain. Yeah, all right, we'll do that Green one story. We know him because we can't do the Black Knight. That's Lancelot again. Yeah. So, no.
For me, the biggest thing that I have with the film is that it's just overindulgent. It's a classic example of some people look at that film. What does it mean? Some people look at this film and say it's very poetic and it's shot very evocatively. But what I would say is that when that is when you shoot everything evocatively, when every single shot needs to be quirky and Dutch angle, or the camera's twisting, or a big zoom, the whole reason films that really make an impact. I mean, for instance, I know like people will like scream like terror, but like looking like The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is filmed very, very normally, and then you have the scene where the 16-wheeler bucks up and flips. It's all in one shot, and it's real, and it stands out, and it leaves a big impact on you.
Yeah, you have to pick and
know.
choose your moments. If everything's beautiful, nothing's beautiful.
You look at Ong Bak, that film is very basic, and then there's one shot where he goes up an entire staircase and beats up everyone.
Oh, the whole hotel circular sequence.
Thing.
That's incredible.
Or Old Boy with the corridor sequence. It's
those
like
moments matter. Like
they
you say,
matter.
Pick and choose, because again, when everything looks incredible,
Is a painting.
It's all just one thing. Nothing looks incredible.
No.
It's like you have to earn that. Pick and choose that moment. It's like beatific language again. It's like you were saying earlier about. I'm all for poetic language.
Yeah, I love it. But when everyone
when
have to speak.
everyone's speaking vague constellations, it's dull.
What is this, a Dark Souls game?
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Another lonesome traveller, are we? Prithee away from thy Lord's gathering light. Feckless and alone and lost. Maybe thou shalt find thy door, but only within thyself.
So is it over there? Is the next objective over there?
Yeah. So doors to the left, doors to the left.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, all good, mate.
The doors within yourself, but basically you already have the key on.
Yeah.
It's just upstairs.
And for me,
it's pretentious.
Yeah,
It's
pretentious.
This is the word. It's pretentious.
And I think Ghost Story is a very good film, but this is David Lowery with budget. He's got the directing rights, he's got the writing rights, and he fucking edited it.
Yeah, no one's there to tell him.
And I'm like, this, you need, like, this is like a man standing in the mirror going, oh.
I think I may have taken things too far this time.
Oh my god.
It's fucking George Lucas with prequels all over again.
Yeah.
No one there to sound like George.
And
Are you sure?
And I know people really hold this film in high. I know a lot of people who do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Like, even
do you actually know people?
Yeah, like my, I knew a few people from my film course who thought it was really good. I know there's some reviewers that I follow. I won't name them, but there's some reviewers that I know thought it was very poetic.
Really?
Yeah. And I just think, I'm sorry, like this is a very self-centered, very pretentious, very hubris kind of film where it's just like, I get to do what I want.
It's almost like it's a film not made for
anyone
people.
else but for him.
Yes, and it's also like, it's exactly that, and it's also like, this is a film made for cinephiles specifically.
Yeah.
It's not a piece of art for people to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's a piece of art for only people that are in the club of people who like this kind of film to enjoy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the thing that turns us off the most, is like, we've just never been impressed by that kind of thing.
No, you're supposed to be a storyteller. You know, it's your story. Well, it's not your story. If it's your
That's the thing. It's not even your fucking story, mate.
Like, you have to admit that, if it's your story, but you have to adapt it so that you're a storyteller, that you can tell it to people and they get invested.
After all, a piece of art is pointless unless someone is there to literally experience it in and of itself at the time. So if you're only interested in getting a niche, I totally get that. Yeah. I really do. But I'm saying this doesn't do even that niche well.
No. I mean, even like modern art that I really enjoy, it's very, very self-expressive. Very like, a lot of it just comes from a very dark place in people's minds, or like an expression. But nearly 9 times out of 10, that artist will be able to write about why this happens. And then you can read it and you can go, okay, I understand what you're doing there. And it's like, okay, well, you did it like that, you did it like that. Okay, but this, I'm like, so why did you have the fucking 11-shot sequence of twisting? Oh, to transfer through the lands. Like, yeah, why was it like 11 seconds though?
Well, sometimes life happens.
Yeah, because it looked nice, didn't it? Because it looked nice. Why did he eat a mushroom? Oh, well, tonight, no, because you liked the shot and it looked cool and it was like a struggle. Like, you're not fucking telling a story.
Yeah, David Patel was in the rain. You thought you might as well use it because he was there.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on all night.
We could. Like, I think this is the one we talked about the longest at this point.
Yeah.
But like.
Yeah, the more we thought about it, the more we went, I don't like this.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
The more we talk about it, the more we have to dislike about it.
Yeah, the more it brewed and stewed in us, we were both like, actually, no, I don't just like think this is okay. I don't like this film.
Yeah, I really don't like it.
I don't like what it stands for.
Hate is too strong a word because it's not.
No,
hateful.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it. I don't like what it stands
just
for.
Pretentious, and honestly, it just does damage to weird, interesting art films that try. Well, not weird, but interesting, off-kilter art films that try and do something like this. Because then people see something like this and think that's what it is.
Yeah. You look at a
That's my
film
biggest
like
resentment.
Everywhere, Everything, All at Once.
It's
You know,
not my
that's
biggest resentment, but
you know, like Everywhere, Everything, All at Once. Like that's a very arty film, but it's still.
would you think so?
Oh, it's very psychedelic and it's a bit mad and it's a bit crazy, but also
Yeah.
it's also very
Call it
coherent.
arty, but yeah.
Very much tells a story, and it's like trying to keep the audience engaged and trying to tell a
because it
story.
knows.
But then at one moment, there's like two rocks speaking. Do you know what I mean? That's a very
So good.
That's a very artistic kind of weird thing to do. But also it earns it, and also it progresses the plot. Even the rocks are making a plot. They're progressing stuff, and we're all engaged.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cannot forgive that 11-second shot. I can't fucking
No,
stand
I know what you mean.
I
The
can't
upside down
fucking
shot.
stand that. If I had to sum up that film in one shot, it would be that fucking
11 seconds of
rotating.
tilting upside down.
I mean, look,
That means nothing.
Don't quote me on that. It's probably not 11 seconds. It felt like 11 seconds. It felt.
To be honest, Tom, I think it's longer.
Yeah, it felt like a fucking age.
Which again, that's the thing, isn't it? Where it's like, oh no, it's only 5 seconds. Like, well, it's even worse than that. I feel like it was fucking 11 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm so fucking bored.
Yeah.
No, just boring, but pretentious. That's what this film is.
Yeah.
It's pretentious. It doesn't really have anything to say. It picks at the idea of being like, oh, legacy can be, and your own ego can be dangerous, can't it? It's like, anything else? It's like The Last of Us 2, where it's like, oh, sometimes, well, no, like when you kill other people, they have their own lives too. Is that it? Is that all you have to say? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've got that in an hour, but okay, I've got, 20 more hours to go through?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I think, in terms of positives, I will say that Patel does a good job. He's not written well, but I think Patel
Yes,
does a
I
good
would
job.
agree. Dev Patel does his
good
best,
actor.
and Gawain has no personality in this. He's not really anything. Do you know what I mean?
He's just a
He
bit
suffers
moron.
key protagonist syndrome, where it's like you're just moving from A to B for other things to
And other
happen to
interesting
you,
things to
not
happen.
really for you to change, develop, or reflect in any way. Certainly as a character, in any other means. Like you're not a person. You are a. What would it be? You're an analogy or a metaphor. Not even that. You are just a parable.
Yeah,
You have as much emotional connection to me in this narrative right now in this film as I do to the idea of the Samaritan on the road that Saul, who becomes Paul, ignores. It's like, you're not a character, you're a device to move from A to B. Which again, it's just like,
but then,
I'm sorry, but you're making an intimate artistic film in particular. So you could say it's, oh, well, that's the point. And I was like, well, then it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like this is the medium we're in.
But again, like, you know, fair play to him. You know, even though I hate.
I'm just
even
talking
though,
about Gawain.
Even though I hate the mushroom scene, Dave Patel still had to fucking get in the wet and eat a mushroom and sell that. And god damn it, he's trying. Like, he's trying hard. And Ralph is obviously incredible. I mean, he turns up. And
I cannot understand a word King Arthur says. That Scottish actor who was in Macbeth as Macduff as well, and many other things. I was like, I cannot fucking hear you. I literally can't hear you too much.
The first 40 minutes.
I'm sorry, I cannot fucking hear a word you're saying.
Yeah.
You have to fucking enunciate, sir.
You can't just breathe.
You can't.
Just nod, Gwen. Just nod and smile. Yes, Arthur. I know. Yes. We'll go next Wednesday. Yeah, I know.
Maybe Thursday.
Yeah, sure, Thursday.
That's a hen party. But that's the thing. That's another thing I hate just in modern film in general is like the mumbly whispering. It's like, oh, realism is like, but it's not realistic because the camera's there. It's like I have to be able to hear you.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, I don't mind the actor. I actually quite like him.
Yeah, he's good.
He's very weird and off kilter. From Harry Brown to Macduff to Macbeth, where he's Macduff in it. Like, he's always been interesting and quite good, but it's just like I cannot fucking understand most of what you're saying.
Yeah, the first 40
I
minutes.
shouldn't be working to understand what's being told to me in a fucking film.
The first 40 minutes of the
There's
film
dialogue.
is very good. It's like all the budget is in the
I
first
don't
40
understand
minutes.
why his mum summoned the Green Knight. Why is she entrapping him?
She's a witch.
Yeah, but why is she entrapping her?
She's loyal to the. I think it's established that she's very loyal to the witches and she hates the kingdom.
But
to the point
what
to
the
the point that
got to do
to the
with
point that she
her own
despises.
son being killed for the sake
But I
of
think
legacy.
that's I think she despises her son for joining the knighthood.
But
I think
that's not shown at all.
I thought it was.
No, I don't see that at all. There is no inclination that she dislikes the fact he joined the knighthood because she's the one that encourages him to do the knightly shit. Now I know what you're saying.
I thought it was
to call
get
him out, but like that comes from nowhere. She summons the Green Knight on Christmas Day for no particular reason.
Yeah.
You know, and at first I thought it was like, oh, she's trying to get her son to like buck up and grow up. But it's like, what, by dying? I don't get it, and I had.
But I thought it was the whole point that she wanted to lead him into that so that he'd kill himself. She kind of like guilt tripped his
that makes her a
pride.
cunt then.
Well, yeah, because she's a witch. She doesn't like
So
the
witches
kingdom.
are just cunts.
Well, yeah, particularly those who don't like the kingdom.
Then what are we trying to talk about? Like, what are we trying to analyse with these witches? Like, oh, they're just awful people.
Well, yeah, I just think that was it. It was just set up like they don't like the kingdom. They don't like Arthur.
So much that I'll kill my fucking son, even though I live in the town with Arthur. I'm in literally a tower that his kingdom's built.
No, you're right. Like you develop it. That's a good angle. Like develop it. You know?
There is actually, like you say, it's like I feel like I actually do like what you're saying. I think you are really stretching your work. I think you're doing some mental gymnastics there. I'm not saying I'm right either, but I think you're really... See, that's the thing. I think you're seeing some potential and actually doing something with it, but in your own head.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in the film that indicates that.
But yeah, I would say like
I could be wrong. This is where subjectivity.
I'd just say like the first 30 minutes is where all the budget goes. And when the budget's on screen and those 40 minutes in the...
Yeah, and then just
beautiful.
end up in woods.
It is incredible though.
I spent all this money building this cool town, but I had nothing to do in this town.
But that's it, like the first 40 minutes are breathtaking, they are beautiful, but then it's just like...
It's a beautifully shot film
it's
at
incredible.
the beginning as well. And again, it's points where it's like, not just the pretentious angles, but also just other stuff where I'm like, it's dull.
Yeah.
This isn't particularly interesting or well shot.
Yeah.
Or
After they leave
nicely
the castle, it just becomes a slugfest.
That long shot of him riding away from the castle is probably the last good shot.
Yeah.
Remember the one where he's at the when the camera's on the other side of the little lake and he goes to get ahead and there's such strong backlighting.
You've got like two D12s in the background.
Yeah. This is, you can just tell just off the camera there's a guy with a fucking Astera. Lighting.
Well, not even that. They've got big old D12s fucking just blasting.
No, I'm just saying from the side as well.
Side,
and fucking Munty face in like Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm sorry, like there's no particular offence to that actress, but I cannot stand her. She's crap. She is crap. I'm sure she's a lovely person. I mean, maybe not. Maybe she's an asshole. Either way, like she's not a good actress. But her in that as well. Yeah, you know that was the thing we forgot to mention. God, when Aaron Eckhart appears as the hunter, what a breath of fresh air.
Oh, I know, yeah.
That's what we forgot to mention, but like the hunter in the manor with the witch, which is all still boring, but he's actually just
he's great.
He's kind of just a cool bro
who has a bit of thing to say.
He's just interesting and fun, and he has some life to him.
That's what
he's a breath of fresh air.
That's what a journeyman story should be.
And it's a beautiful scene.
It should be interesting encounters with interesting people
that challenge you and your worldview and philosophy.
It shouldn't be boring. Aaron Eckhart turns up.
Yeah.
Well, and then literally I woke up like, oh shit, oh fuck, like Aaron Eckhart's here, like shit.
And it's a beautiful scene where he kisses him.
Yeah, it's great.
And then gives him a kiss, which again comes from nowhere.
But it's still good.
You know, I don't really get where it's coming from. I don't know the Gawain legend that well. Maybe there is something in that, but I don't. I probably don't think so. But I don't know what he's trying to say. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't understand what that's about. I really don't get that scene.
But yeah, A24 next time. I know you love him. I know you love David Lowery. Like I know you like him, but next time, just please, like get a bit more involved and rein it in a little bit because you put a lot of money on the screen in the first 40 minutes and it ends up becoming just one of the biggest slugs I've ever watched.
Yeah, and you really worked hard to sell this film as well.
You did,
made
yeah.
Beautiful posters.
Beautiful posters. Some of the best posters I've seen.
I know.
Incredible posters.
One with the axe, but also with the crown. Like,
the gold, yeah.
With like the high, I want to say like
So
high
good.
contrast, but like really
Slightly
dark.
deco-ishy crown, yeah.
Really, really dark lighting on him. Like
Really
everything
cool.
pops, but against this like really fucking bold red background and nothing else.
Yeah.
Great. You know?
Yeah.
Epic.
I know. And when I went to see it,
Legendary.
I was like, oh, we're going to get some of that now. How would you like Fields? How would you like dirty fields and weird camera angles for a long time?
How would you like things to look like that swamp scene in Lord of the Rings and the first one?
But forever.
With Aragorn before Weathertop, but yeah.
But forever.
And at the end, Ralph Ineson goes up and goes, "What else will there be?"
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Do I have to save the film?
Do I have to? Is it all
Do I have
me?
to wake up everyone?
Yeah.
Is it me?
Do I
It's
have to spend 8 hours in prosthetics, drinking out of a straw
to
get
save this film? Okay, I will. I'm not even saving it. I'm just
bookending it.
Yeah.
I'm at the good beginning bit and the good ending bit. Everything in between.
That's always matters.
Fucking tragedy. Don't make me come
In fact, don't make me come back.
Just wait till we talk about the Batman.
Don't make me come back.
Don't make me come
God. Well, God love you, Ralph, and
Yeah.
God bless the art department, the costume team, the makeup team,
Doing God's work. those people.
doing absolute God's work.
God bless Ted Patel, the
Yeah.
cast. God bless everybody except the scriptwriter and director.
Which is the same person.
Yep.
I just double check if that is the same person. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure. Yes, it was.
This kind of indulgence.
It was. Yeah, it was. It was him.
I'm pressed to find if the director was deciding to be that indulgent on someone else's indulgence.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think, and I guess, David Lowery, like, he's not a experienced director. This is only like his second really big film. He's done like other work before, but like Ghost Stories was a big breakout, and then this is his next big one. Like, yeah, I think he needs to. I think it should be a learning curve, and it should take away, like, because look, I've made fucking long, wanky art films before where people were like, Jesus Christ, Tom, are you gonna?
Not on that kind of budget.
But not on that budget.
Success behind you.
Yeah,
right?
not on that budget. Like,
Yeah.
I did that when I was young. I did that when I was young, and like I had one camera and had
And you
you and
didn't-
my dad, and we made a
you
little
didn't
film out in the
adapt a
fields.
story of something else and decide to fuck with it.
Yeah,
To say
That's-
not particularly
yeah.
anything. Oh, isn't ego bad?
you should. Yeah, you should. Like, hopefully after this, he kind of recognises that.
I don't know though, because the audience don't like it, but like the critics. They say if you know who likes it.
If it doesn't make money, mate, A24 at the end of the day are a business, and they have to make money, because like Minari, it still made okay money.
Yeah,
It made its budget back.
that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Green Knight,
How did Green Knight do?
let's have a look. So box office. Oh my god, that's low. So it made $19 million.
19.
919.
19.
Oh my god, I
How
hate.
much did it cost?
I'll just double
I
check.
mean, I know that's really bad, but like, just tell me now.
I think it was way more. That feels like a 30 million.
I have to know.
Hold on.
Give me the
Budget. Hold on, let me just Google
See,
Green
mate,
Knight
when I
budget.
make Miles, it's gonna be a quarter of that budget.
Yeah, Green Knight budget.
Milos Christianus, people, Sunday. Keep an eye out.
Okay, so it was $15 million to make.
15.
15, so it made a 4 million
profit.
That's not great.
No, it's
I
profit.
mean, it's profit.
Alright, I will give it that. That is...
Yeah.
that is more than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but I mean...
But who gives a fuck?
Yeah, exactly. I just don't know, like...
I will give it that. I won't take that away from it.
Yeah,
It
and
made
so
profit,
maybe they
which is
do give
an
him another
achievement.
film, but I don't know, because I think the way they marketed that, I think they were thinking it was going to be a big hit.
I agree.
Because
they really pushed
when this
that
came
shit.
out, it came out at a perfect time. Nothing else was really on.
Yep.
And it had such a great poster, and like
The
trailers were coming out,
Yep.
and it, I think they were thinking it was
It's
going to
an
make good
Arthurian
money.
legend, baby.
Yeah.
The
So-
OG.
When Minari only makes $2 million profit, you're kind of like, okay, whatever.
How much
Like-
did Minari cost?
No, I doubt. Oh god, probably very cheap.
I'm curious.
10 mil.
Yeah.
Minari.
Minari.
Budget.
Minari.
1
Wonderful.
$2 million. Yeah, that's
How much did it make?
incredible. Let's have a look. Minari, gross.
I mean, it's not all about money, people, we know, but also money does matter. It's just so you can keep making things.
Minari made $12 million worldwide. That's how you do it. You don't make a $5 million profit on an Arthurial legend. Minari makes a 10 million profit. I mean, that just says everything.
Yeah.
That literally just speaks.
Yeah.
Same company, A24. same
Minari is
production
about, like, on paper, it's like, what's more exciting on paper? A knight who's challenged to a duel, or who's challenged essentially to a death game by an immortal, ageless being,
Yeah.
and he journeys to fulfill that oath. Or Korean family moves to America
Arkansas
to make a farm.
Yeah.
And has emotional and family struggles out of the way. You fucking tell me which sounds more exciting on paper and which appeals more to the wider market. Because I promise you, it's not the one that involves the Koreans.
Yeah, or the farm.
Yeah.
Farming simulator.
Yeah.
I
was not to say it's not a good film, but, like, come on, let's face it.
No, exactly.
John Everyman is probably more likely to check out a
you're
film
gonna
about
see Green
fucking
Knight.
knights.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. So hopefully both David and A24 have learned, like, yeah, you've got to rein it in. You can't.
And we really respect
auteurs and people who want to give their vision, but
we also don't respect pretension.
And also, I particularly myself, because my fiance is an editor, I respect editors. Editors are crucial for coming in.
So do I.
And crafting a story.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, you know how I've talked about it. It's just like films.
It's made in the edit. Like a film is made in the edit.
This film could have been an hour and a half.
And if an editor, an actual, like, a proper trained editor had come in with a really good vision, and because, like, editors are like the second film, like they're basically the secondary filmmakers. Like,
because they put the story
together and they give their interpretation,
assemble essential pacing,
and also the editor, particularly an editor, is there to think of the audience.
Yeah.
So, like, the timing of cuts, like, okay, how long does this need to go on for? Okay, we're to keep the rhythm needs to keep going. Okay, does this flow good? Like, David editing his own thing, like, it's just...
He didn't make it for anyone, he made it for himself.
He made it for his private screening at his home with his mates.
Why are you making this?
So they could all drink champagne and go, look how fucking cool I am.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's a big lesson learned by both parties.
Yeah.
Don't let your director,
make
writer...
stories for people, not yourself.
You know,
put a piece of yourself and share it with the world, but don't make it for yourself.
And if anything, please, no matter who they are, just hire an external editor. Do it once over. I'm just saying. Just one. Get them in, just do it once over.
I'm sure there's a rare occasion where that person understands what they can keep and what they can lose.
Exactly.
But that's a rare thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And again, if you're going to ask for my time, have something to say.
And do it in a concise and meaningful way.
Yeah, don't
present it to me.
Waste my time.
Present it to me as a story.
And tell me just because it's art, I should like it.
That's
why I hate the Tate Modern.
Oh no, we disagree. That's
I know.
No. We're not going into that. That'll take too long. We're not going into that. That's way too long.
Wow.
Right, there you go.
You tell me one good piece of art.
No, we're not doing it. No, that's a different night, a different story, a different time. All right. Well, that was the Green Knight. I think we can both agree that it was, incredibly pretentious waste of time had by all.
Yeah. Shame. Wanted to like it.
Really, really wanted. Like, we both really wanted to like it.
Yeah.
We both came out of that trying to convince ourselves we wanted to like it, and the more we dwelled on it, the more we realised it was kind of unsavable, and we just this really wasted our time quite profoundly.
Yeah.
So,
But there we are. So yeah, thanks so much for listening. We've gone off probably as long as the fucking Green Knight itself at this point, so better wrap it up there.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Don't make me come back.
Please.